like the video, subscribe to the channel. You're not going to get this kind of information anywhere else on YouTube. Nobody else in this space is doing what this channel is doing. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Feminist Media Podcast. Let's continue. So here we go. This is what I have a problem. Ted isn't better than a nice guy. What is a nice guy? What is the definition of nice? Or not even definition. I need you, kind of the definition of nice, but what is nice? What is that characteristic? So throughout the show, the audience roots for Ted to find the love of his life. He's a hopeless romantic who firmly believes he will find the one in a predestined way, and then this will make everything in his life finally make sense. However, soon this becomes a harder feat than he thought. As Ted's romantic failures pile on, he becomes increasingly bitter about dating. He doesn't understand why women would commit to him if he's actually a good guy. Throughout time, it's become obvious to viewers that Ted is definitely a walking red flag. So let's rewind that. As Ted's romantic failures pile on, he becomes increasingly bitter about dating. Guys, if you're a young man and you're watching this, if you're an older male and you're watching this, you fully understand that statement. But if you're a younger male and you're not understanding that statement, that's because you haven't experienced it yet. But yes, as men date as they get older and they're still dating, they become not necessarily bitter about dating. They become more realistic about dating. They start to realize the longer that they're out there, how they're viewed by women. See, when you're young, especially with all this media, there's all these shows and these movies, you are also given a rose-colored lens when you're watching these things, and it makes you think that this is the way the world is. But when you turn on this show here, we don't have rose-colored lenses. They have a problem with Ted becoming more bitter. Actually, I call it become more realistic about dating when he gets older. But even then, Ted is still, he has the one-itis. He still is searching for the one. So I'm barely gonna discuss this. The show was stretched more than it should have. What did you expect? I mean, the show was called How I Met Your Mother. What do you think happens once the lead character meets the mom? The show's over, stupid. The show is called How I Met Your Mother, not How I Met Your Mother and live a decent life, and then something happened, and later on, I'm telling the story to my kids. No, that's not, I don't want to give out too much. But the show is called How I Met Your Mother. Once he meets the mother, the show's over. And you're going to see a similar complaint with that about the last season, which I will address that shortly. Robin's character development got worse and worse. Robin is one of the most poorly written characters in sitcoms. While at the beginning of the show, Robin is an ordinary woman trying to make a life in New York. As the show progresses, they make her more mean and biodimensional as a character. Robin turns cynical, self-absorbed, and even more cruel at points in a way hardly justified by the TV show. Fans of the show have argued most of the development of the show's characters is determined by Ted's narrative. It makes sense that Ted's perspective of Robin shifted in later seasons since she started dating Barney. So, spoilers alert. However, it's hard for the audience of a sitcom to connect with a cartoonish character, even if it is the result of a narrative device. I would say that Robin didn't get more mean and her development did get worse. I would say that Ted had already been with her, so just don't know very much about her in the first few episodes. But I don't think her character development was that crazy. I think that they wanted Robin, and I'll explain that later in the episode, but they wanted Robin's character to be this one for all. She's like a modern woman. She's the typical modern woman. She focuses on her career. She's like that go-getter, the independent go-getter, but also she's a tomboy. So she's boy-like. she also has this girly side. There's too much going on for her character. And that's because, I'll explain that later, but that's because they wanted her character to be a be all or one and all for a lot of different sections of women. They wanted to display all of one. And if you're looking at it from what they're saying that, well, her character development got worse because of Ted, that's how Ted viewed her. I would also make the argument that her character development did get worse. Ted was just, the post-nut clarity had set in. I'll say that. This is, this is actually a valid criticism that I have with it. I'm not saying that I was satisfied with the ending. It was like, okay, yeah, I could see that happening.